What's the point of Prime Minister's questions these days? It seems like every week, Keir Starmer dodges questions and avoids giving straight answers. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister gets grilled but offers responses that are completely unrelated to the questions asked. In today's video, we'll break down 3 key moments from this week's PMQs, where Starmer gets called out, the Prime Minister sidesteps the issues, and the whole session descends into political theatre. We'll react to these moments in real time and unpack what's really happening, all while covering the latest news from across the country. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we do have new One Keir t-shirts available on our website. Go to britishstand.com or check the link in the description. Now let's get straight into it. Watch this.
Mr. Speaker, in what is supposed to be a honeymoon period for a new government, the Prime Minister has sacked his Chief of Staff, forced his City Minister and Transport Secretary to resign, whilst Number 10 has been briefing against the Pensions Secretary, Home Secretary and Education Secretary. Is it not time that the Prime Minister accepts that the root causes at the heart of this government are with him, not them?
We just won a landslide victory, and we've got a massive majority. We're getting on with the job. And Mr. Speaker, I don't think we saw. Look at the sheer number of ministers that they got through on a yearly basis, causing instability in every conceivable department.
Paul Davies.
Two-year mortgages have hit 5%. Borrowing is billions above forecast. Retail sales have slumped. Does the Prime Minister still believe the Chancellor is doing a good job?
I thought she was just reading out their last record.
Final question, Mark Termin.
When it comes to his budget, which raised taxes, raised borrowing and raised public spending as a strategy for economic growth, when is the Prime Minister going to accept the words of the Labour Prime Minister in the 1970s, who explained to a Labour conference that in all candour that option no longer exists, and that the only way to obtain sustained economic growth will be by cutting taxes and cutting regulation?
Prime Minister.
He must have missed recent reports. The ONS has just said that we've got the highest investment for 19 years. The PwC have just said that this is the second best place to invest in the world. The IMF have just upgraded growth, now saying we're predicted to be the fastest growing major European economy. Wages are up and inflation is down. That's after just 6 months.
What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. In other news, UK borrowing costs rose unexpectedly to £17.8 billion in December. But Chancellor Rachel Reeves remains confident in the country's financial health following the October budget. This figure was around 25% higher than what economists had predicted and was £10.1 billion more than the same time last year, making it the highest borrowing in December for 4 years. The unexpected rise puts pressure on Reeves to make tough decisions on budget cuts before the upcoming spending review in the summer. The UK's budget deficit was larger than expected in December, largely due to high debt interest costs and a one-off military housing purchase, according to new data released on Wednesday. Public sector net borrowing reached £17.8 billion in December, the Office for National Statistics, ONS, reported. Economists had predicted borrowing would be around £14.1 billion. The ONS said that a significant part of the borrowing came from an £8.3 billion debt interest bill, which was the third highest December total ever. Additionally, a £1.7 billion payment for repurchasing military homes added to the overall borrowing. Reeves acknowledged the headroom to meet those targets in the final year of the economic forecast is tight, but added, those fiscal rules are important to us, because they are the bedrock, the foundation of that stability that I've spoken about. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, she insisted the country's finances were now in order, following her October budget. She said, "Now we have wiped the slate clean. My instinct is to have lower taxes, less regulation, make it easier for businesses to do business." She defended her approach to the public finances with her two fiscal rules of paying for day-to-day spending through tax receipts and bringing debt down as a share of gross domestic product. "We will continue to make decisions to ensure that we meet those fiscal rules," she said. UK government borrowing in the current financial year has reached £129.9 billion, £8.9 billion higher than the same period last year, and a record outside the pandemic's peak. This borrowing is also £4 billion above the £125.9 billion in forecast by the OBR. The increase follows volatility in the UK bond market, driving up borrowing costs and raising concerns about the government's ability to meet fiscal rules. Higher bond yields, weaker growth, and rising inflation are expected to reduce the financial headroom, threatening fiscal stability. The yield on UK 30-year bonds reached its highest level since 1998, before dropping back down when inflation data showed it had fallen to 2.5% in December. The pound also dropped to a 14-month low of $1.22 in early January, but has since risen slightly. This drop marked a sharp fall from the $1.34 level in September. In response to the borrowing rise, Darren Jones, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, said, "Economic stability is vital for our number one mission of delivering growth. That's why our fiscal rules are non-negotiable and why we will have an iron grip on public finances. Through our spending review, we will examine every line of government spending for the first time in 17 years, rooting out waste to ensure taxpayers' money is spent wisely. The OBR will conclude whether the government is set to miss its fiscal rules when it publishes its updated forecasts at the spring statement on March 26th. Jones said the government will interrogate every line of government spending for the first time in 17 years to root out waste, to ensure every penny of taxpayers' money is spent productively and helps deliver our plan for change. Elliot Jordan-Doak, a senior UK economist at Pantheon Macroeconomics, said the government will have to take action to ensure it meets its fiscal rules. He said, "We expect the government to outline spending reductions, backloaded towards the end of the forecast year, at the next fiscal event in March. Further tax increases at the next budget in October is also a good bet." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.